And I'm going to disengage it to let this truck merge in. It does not allow vehicles to merge in. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be doing a more thorough test on the Rivian Driver Plus. I know a lot of folks are either coming from Tesla or they're considering Tesla and all of the advanced driver assistance features that Tesla has available. Now, the Rivian vehicles are not going to be comparable to Tesla. Tesla's had a long time to perfect their advanced driver assistance, and I wouldn't say they perfected it, but it's a lot better than many of the competitors. But the Rivian Driver Plus is still a very good system, and the wonderful thing about both Tesla and Rivian is the over-the-air software updates. But nonetheless, I'm going to test the Rivian Driver Plus today, and I'm going to test it in a right lane scenario where we have merging traffic, and I'm also going to test it in a center lane scenario. So we're going to give this system a lot of challenges today, and we're going to see how it handles those challenges. So I'm going to try this out on two different roads today. This particular highway here is a more open highway. We have a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit, and there's not as much merging traffic, but there are some curves and a lot of hills and that sort of thing. And then there's another road I'm going to try it on that has a lot of curves and a lot more merging traffic, more exits, and that sort of thing. So I think it'll give you a good idea of what you can expect from Driver Plus. Now, the current update that I'm on at the time of this recording is 2023.38. I've noticed since the 2023.34 update that the visualization on the screen shows all the lines on the road, and it typically does a pretty good job of seeing the different cars that are around you. Now, I know there's some folks that posted online about different errors the system makes. It's not perfect, and it's definitely not a Tesla full self-driving system, but it's pretty good for what it is. It does not automatically change lanes. So when you want to change lanes, you put the signal on and you toggle on the steering wheel. It will disable the auto steer, but keep the adaptive cruise control on. Then once you're centered up in the new lane, you can double tap down on the stalk again and it'll re-enable the auto steer. So it's not horrible, but it would be really nice if Rivian could add the auto lane change feature to allow a full lane change while in auto steer. I think that would be awesome, and it would definitely make it very competitive with both the Tesla Enhanced Autopilot and the Ford Blue Cruise systems. Now, one thing I'll note is that the follow distance, if you adjust the scroll wheel here on the right, you can increase the follow distance or decrease it. There's 4 settings, and I've found the lowest setting, or the closest setting to the vehicle in front of you, is about 3 car lengths. So that's about as close as Rivian will let you get when Driver Plus is enabled. Now that works out fine for me, but some folks may not like it. They want to follow a little closer to keep other cars from getting in front of them on a frequent basis. It's also doing a good job. Now it says lane merge ahead, and you'll notice when we go past an exit, the line on the right disappears. So it knows that that's an exit. We can see that there. And then when you're past it, it reappears. What had happened to me previously is when going around a turn, it would want to go off the exit sometimes, whether it was a left lane exit or a right lane exit. Now here we're going to have some merging traffic, and the system is not going to allow, okay, so that's a hard brake, and I'm going to disengage it to let this truck merge in. It does not allow vehicles to merge in, and that's kind of a problem. To me, it should have behaved a little differently there. It seems like that's a pretty basic operation, is to account for vehicles that are merging into your lane if you're in the right lane of travel. But it must be a difficult problem to solve, because the last time I used the Tesla autopilot, it was the same way. For whatever reason, these advanced driver assistance packages have a really hard time dealing with traffic entering the highway and merging. So while I'd like to see it handle it better, it doesn't surprise me that the Driver Plus is having challenges in that area. We're going to get ready and get on 270 South. Now, this is going to be much more challenging. There's a lot of curves, and the exits are more frequent, and there's usually more vehicles on this road. So we'll see how the system performs. So something new I've noticed since the 2023.34 update is the graphic that's displayed when you engage the Driver Plus. It kind of like shows a grid pattern. Now we're at a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, so I'm going to go ahead and engage the system. And I'm going to set it to 64. Now I do notice in some scenarios the truck does ping pong in between the lane lines a little bit, and I think when it does that, it's having trouble seeing the lane lines. Right now the sun is shining bright on the front of the vehicle, and it's kind of a little bit of a reflection off the road. So the truck may not be able to see the lane markings as well as it normally would. It is telling me there's a lane merge ahead. And here we're coming up to 65, so I'm going to increase my speed to 70. Keep people from running me off the road. It's doing a very good job of maintaining its distance from the car in front. We can see that car is just in front of the blue line in my display, and we can also see that that minivan in front of us is lit up blue, which means that the system is tracking that van. Anything that's just gray, it means the system is not tracking that. So that also explains why we're not seeing any reaction to merging vehicles until they actually get into the lane that we're in. And then there's a lot of times an overreaction, which isn't the best. Now the road's going to get a little curvy up here. And another thing I've noticed when the road gets curvy is the truck will a lot of times get really close to that center line. And sometimes it'll make you a little uncomfortable. Now it is slowing down, because the traffic in front of me is slowing down. So again, doing a very good job of maintaining that distance. And it was a very comfortable deceleration. It wasn't abrupt. And he's leaving this lane. So now the truck will pick up speed a little bit, get back to our set speed. And it's still doing a good job of maintaining that distance. Okay, we've got the message in our screen here that there's a lane merge ahead. And this is kind of complicated, so yeah, it's getting really close to that line. Another lane merge. Now, road curves ahead. So the truck knows that the road is going to be curving, and it's warning me to keep both of my hands on the wheel. But that was kind of a complicated situation back there, and it handled it pretty well. Another thing I like is when it's decelerating, it appears to be using a lot of regen. So it's not just stomping on the friction brakes. It is using a lot of regen. We want it to use regen as much as possible so that we can get maximum efficiency out of the truck. You have a lot of curves, and it's getting really close to that center line. I really don't like how it's getting almost on the center line and then correcting itself. It's not leaving much room for error if there's another vehicle there. Now, if I take my hands off the wheel completely, let's see how long it takes before it starts warning me. It says there's a lane merge ahead. Okay, alright, so it deactivated it. It didn't warn me. It said lane lines not detected. So I think the way the sun is shining onto the vehicle is having some kind of an impact on how it's able to see the line markings on the road. So I don't have the option to re-engage it now either. In a bit here, I will turn around and go the opposite direction. And in that scenario, the sun will be at the back of the truck. So we'll see how it behaves then. The other thing I'm hoping to test as well is when the highway narrows down from 3 lanes to 2 lanes, how the truck handles that. I tried it once before and it did not do a very good job. And I'm still not getting the Driver Plus prompt. So I have a feeling that it locked out the Driver Plus, either because I didn't have my hands on the wheel or because it couldn't see the lane markings on the road. Here we go. Now it just lit up for a second. There it is. Now it let me enable it, but I have a feeling that it's not going to handle this very well. And so I'm going to keep both of my hands on the wheel. This truck is going to let me in, thankfully. I'm probably going to have to slow down here. We'll see what it does. It actually did. Okay, it actually merged in. This is much better than it did on the previous version of the software. On a previous version of the software, at that merge, it started to merge in, but then it jerked over to the right really quickly again. So wow, it did handle that very well. So it does look like Rivian is making some improvements to the Driver Plus system. I'm going to set my speed on 65. But it's not going to go any faster than what we're going right now because of the vehicle in front of me. Now this is the shortest follow distance, folks, so you can kind of get somewhat of an idea. I know with the camera it may not give you the full picture of how it's going to be when you're driving the vehicle, but this to me seems like about 3 car lengths. And it really is a comfortable follow distance for me, honestly. Now here we've got a lane merge ahead. We've got the notification on the screen. And we already know that it's not very good at handling merging vehicles. So any future merging that you see, I'm probably going to have to disengage the system if the other vehicles aren't able to merge in, because I don't want to cut anybody off or create an unsafe situation. Now, traveling in this direction, we're heading north on I-270, and traveling in this direction, we have the sun at our back. So it's no longer at the front of the vehicle, it's at the back of the vehicle. So I think the truck is able to see the lines a little bit better because it seems like it's handling things a little bit better. We do have the lane merge notification. Gets a little too close to that line. Yep. It gets a little too close to the line and then it overcorrects to the other direction. It is doing better, folks, than it did on the previous update. Do you guys like seeing videos like this? If you do, hit the like button and let me know down in the comments section if you want to see updates on the Driver Plus as hopefully it evolves with future software updates. Last test I'm going to do here is I'm going to go hands off the wheel completely. Last time I tried to do that, it didn't work so well. And I'm not sure if it was because of the lane lines or because I just didn't have my hands on the wheel. But at some point it should remind me to keep my hands on the wheel. Keep your hands on the wheel, there we go. And if I tap on the back, the steering wheel is capacitive, so I don't need to tug on it or do anything like I have to do in a Tesla. I just tap on the back of it and it knows I'm there, which is really nice. So here we are in a middle lane scenario. This is a much more desirable place to be if you're going to have Driver Plus on. Now granted, you're going to come up on the occasional slow car, but you're not going to have to deal with any merging traffic. And if you're lucky enough to be on a 3-lane or more highway, you're not going to have the folks in the left lane tailgating because you're not going fast enough. So I really like the middle lane for those reasons. It's just a lot less stressful if you're driving a long distance. And with Driver Plus, it just does a great job of maintaining that distance. It's very comfortable. And it's just a very relaxing driving experience on the highway if you're in that middle lane. If you're going to use Driver Plus, best place to use that is in the middle lane or possibly the left lane. It's just really not good in the right lane because of merging traffic. it could make for a little bit of a stressful driving experience if you're trying to use it in the right lane. But I will say that the system appears to be improving. It's definitely handling this road better than it has in the past. The only other concern that I have with the Rivian Advanced Driver Assistance is the fact that they're removing the driver monitoring camera from the trucks now. And there's two reasons why I'm kind of disappointed with that. One is the inability to monitor the driver to make sure they're staying attentive would kind of seem to indicate that maybe it's not going to be as advanced as we hoped it would be. The other thing is with the gear guard. Not having that camera inside the cabin means that you're not going to be able to see inside the cabin like you can with the Tesla Sentry Mode system. So I'm a little disappointed with that. But overall, folks, I think the Driver Plus is a great system. If you're coming from Tesla, it's definitely not going to be as good as enhanced autopilot or full self-driving. But it will be comparable to the basic autopilot. And it's a very good system. What do you think of the Rivian Driver Plus? Let us know down in the comments section. Folks, as always, remember to hit that like button, then tap on subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified anytime we add new content. And thank you guys so much for watching.